How's it going, everybody? We're going to be doing some ReactJS, continuing on from where I left off the other day. Doing a little night stream, see if we can get a different group of people here. It's not fair for all you morning folk that I always stream to. What's up, man? How's it going, man? You're already here. I should change the thumbnail, but it's no big deal. Post this to the Discord real quick. Did you get a notification, by the way? You're interested. Sage, nice. What's up, dude? Rug, what's up? David, how's it going? Haven't seen you guys. It's been a whole day. I didn't stream yesterday. Yes, sir. David, stop following me. Is Joe streaming? You guys are always at the Joe stream. Patrick's up, dude. I thought you were away. Or we about to pair code. It's all good. So if you guys are interested in following along, the Treehouse link's in the description. William, how's it going? I can't believe we're almost at 30,500 subscribers. It's pretty sweet. So if we could just go ahead and get to 31,000, that'd be all right. So I'll just wait a couple minutes. We can just hang out, do a little AMA for a little bit, and then we'll jump right into it. So if you're watching this recorded, just skip past this. But I don't know if that dude's here. React, that's what we're doing. I don't know if you guys made it to the end of my videos, but this is where I get all my music. I keep ghosting you? Nah, dude, you were away. I was talking to you on Discord and then you went away status, so I was like, oh, he must be hanging out. You're gonna code along later? Yeah, dude, it'll be up. Chance was here when I had less than 3K. I know that feel. What is this song? Guys, we're going on a country road together. Alright? How long have I been learning React? I've done React before for a job, but we're just doing it for the viewers. You want to pair code? Hit me up on the Discord, Chance. Oh, now we're going on. This takes me back to Georgia. Pass. We need something a little bit more trap. Yeah, but Thomas, I've been doing this for a while now. When we first started doing Lambda stuff, I had almost 14K. I'm really surprised that Lambda agreed to work with me because I had only had that, right? So clearly they must have seen the potential, maybe. Who knows? Ronald, how's it going, man? All right, so we're learning state, I guess, right? What is state? That's the title of the tab. Oh, you can't see it. But let's get started.
Our scoreboard app is currently missing important functionality. We're not able to update any of the data. We can't change the score for a player or add and remove players. Our UI is static because our data is static. There are two ways that data gets handled in React: props and state. So far, we've built our application using functions that take in props and return React elements. But props are read-only or immutable. A component can only read the props given to it, never change them. So then, how can we make our components dynamically change? That's where state comes in. For any data that's going to change, we have to use state. Let's dig into this concept. In React, state is the data you want to track in your app. State is what allows you to create components that are dynamic and interactive, and it's the only data that changes over time. To better explain, let's look at the final demo of our scoreboard app. When the user performs any action in the app, like increase the score, remove a player, add a player, even type into the text field, they are changing the state of the application. And all those changes will need to be stored as data somewhere. For example, the updated list of players once a player gets added or removed, or a player's current score after it gets increased or decreased. In React, this data is stored in state. State itself is a regular JavaScript object with properties that define the pieces of data that change. For example, if I look at the final app in React DevTools and select the app component, we see this new section in the right panel labeled state, and it contains an array with 3 objects. If I expand one of the objects, we see its properties: ID, name, and score. This should look familiar. Now, the biggest difference between the players array we're currently passing
48
to
hours
app
and I'm still
via
like,
props,
wait, what do I do?
and this array in state is that data in state is not read-only. This data can change. For example, if I click to remove a player, notice how the array changes from 3 to 2 objects. This triggers a state change that affects all the components that take in this data. For instance, the total player's number changes to 2 and the total points decrease. And if I click to increase one of the player's score, we see the score update in state as well. And we know that this data is also being shared with the stats component up top because we see the total points increase and decrease as we update the score. In fact, I can even update the score here in the state object and watch the value immediately change on screen. I'll do the same with one of the names and so on. So as you can see,
Neato.
State is what keeps your UI in sync with your data. As the data changes, different components of the app will update what they show to the user. And normally in a regular JavaScript application, the more data you have and the more spread out it is, the more complex the application becomes to maintain and debug. So React provides a more convenient way to store and maintain your data with state. Now, this doesn't mean that props will no longer be useful or necessary. Props still play a major role in your application because, as you'll soon learn, data from state is distributed through props. For example, each player component still receives the name, score, and other information you'll learn about later from props. Props is still how you get data into a component. You can learn more about what defines state in the teacher's notes. To begin using state, we need to make a few changes in our app. State is only available to components that are class components. So in the next video, we'll begin by converting a function component to a class component.
Here we go, boys. Hope you guys are doing good tonight.
There are two ways to create a component in React, a function and a class. So far, we focused on defining components with functions in a style called stateless functional components. As the name implies, these are components written as functions that do not handle state. These components are only receiving input through props and rendering UI. We started with stateless functional components because they're easier to write, read, and understand. They just take in props and return JSX. But sometimes we need to do more with a component, like use state. Class components offer a more powerful way to build components because they're the only type of components that let you use state. So before we can start using state in our app, we'll need to convert some of our components to classes. For example, the counter will display data that changes over time, a score. Users will interact with the counter by clicking the plus and minus buttons to increase and decrease the score. So let's start by converting the counter function to a class using the ES 2015 class syntax. If you're not familiar with classes, be sure to have a look at the Treehouse videos and resources I posted in the teacher's notes with this video. First, I'll use the class keyword to create a class with the same name, counter, that extends react.component. In JavaScript classes, the extends keyword is used to create a subclass or a child of another class. In this case, we're extending from react.component, which is part of React's API for component class definition. The only method you need to define in a class component is called render. Next, I'll move the return statement into.
Please hold while I update this. It looks like PHP mixed with Java. Well, I don't know. React has some funky syntax sometimes. Change this, this, this. Let's put a render in there. And then inside this render, we put in all the good stuff.
To the render method. And that's it.
Wait, did he add this return? He did. Because you got to return in that render. Otherwise, it doesn't work. There we go.
You use a class component just like a functional component by including its JSX tag wherever you want to display it. So there's nothing we need to change inside the player component. However, there is one important change we need to make in the JSX expression. Instead of accessing props with props.propName, for example, props.score, classes need to access props with this.prop. So make sure that you change it to this.props.score. In class
because it's an extended prototype thing. All right, I got you. See if I can make this a little bit wider. What? You don't need this. This is JavaScript. This is irrelevant.
Components, props are not accessed through arguments like they are in functional components. Props are a property of the component itself. So this refers to the component instance. So what we have now is equivalent to our previous stateless functional component. We're not using any new functionality. And as you can see, the counter still looks and behaves in the same way. In fact, we could have written each of our components as classes from the start. So when do you use a class versus a function? Well, if a component is only receiving input through props and rendering UI, it's best to use a function or a stateless functional component. Functions are a little bit easier to write, read, and understand, and you can think of a stateless functional component as just the render method from a class component with props passed in as an argument. Now, when you want to add state,
Dennis,
that's when you use
how's
a
it
class
going, man?
component. However, you can also create stateless components as classes. There's really nothing wrong with that approach. One benefit of that approach is that if you ever need to convert the component from stateless to stateful, you'll already have a class defined for it. All right, now that you've learned how to define and use class components, in the next video, we'll add state to our counter component.
Let me just make sure this works. You got me thinking, Jake. I'm pretty sure we don't need the semicolon. Pretty sure it'll work. Yeah, okay. Let's keep it going. Before I hit that...
In this video, we're going to...
Okay, well, I just autoplayed. How are you guys doing tonight? You guys doing all right? Again, if you want to follow along, the 7-day trial's in there, so you can test it out if you want. It's the first link in the description.
Create a stateful component by first defining an initial state inside the counter class. You learned that in React, state changes over time, usually in response to a user's action. So what part of the counter will change when users interact with it? The score will increase or decrease depending on which button they click. Score is our state. So now let's go into our counter component and start creating state. Since state is an object, you create an initialized state within a class inside the constructor method. So first, I'll set up a constructor. Again, if you're not familiar with classes and constructor methods, be sure to review the Treehouse videos posted in the teacher's notes.
I don't think we have to do this anymore.
Inside the constructor, I'll call super in order to call the constructor of the component class.
I don't think we got to do this.
And this needs to be done before we can use this keyword within the constructor. Then to initialize our component state, write this.state and set it equal to an object. You must name this object state, otherwise this will not work. Since state is data that changes over time, we first need to set an initial state, or the state of the component when it first mounts. The state in our counter is going to be the score we want to display for each player. I'll call this state score and set it to 0 by default. Now that we've initialized state, over in React DevTools, select a counter component inside a player component, and you should see a new property called state appear in the right pane. We see the score state, and its value is 0. Next, let's remove the score.
Wait, hold on. I need to verify what you said is true. All right, let's go to console, React. Why is my score? What? It's my props. State. Where did he check? Oh, it's in the counter. Okay. Let's go back over here. Where's the counter at? Player, counter. Okay, there it is. Is this because it's using, so we have a prop score 50 and then a state score of 0. So the has to match, right? Score has to match, I guess. Neato.
Up here in the right pane, we see the score state, and its value is 0.
Here?
Next, let's remove the score prop being passed to the counter and player components, because counter is now maintaining its own score state. It doesn't need the score information from its parent player component. You access state in a similar way to how you access props. In the counter components render method, replace this.props.score with this.state.score.
Got you, fam. I got you. Travis B.
You can think of the render method in a class component as being a function of not just props, but props and state. In other words, if either props or state changes, React executes the render method to update what gets displayed to the user. Now, once we refresh our app, we see that all the player scores are set to the initial state of 0.
Oh, snap. So now we have to increment our state when we click the button, so gotta add that click function. Can you use JavaScript without Babel? You can use JavaScript without Babel, but you can't use ES5 and ES6. Well, actually, that's not true. It's more for, like, converting the JSX. All right, let's go back.
We can even change the score state of a counter component instance in React DevTools and see the score change on the page. Great. So you've just built your first stateful React component. Before we move on, I want to teach you a second way you can initialize state inside a React component, a shortcut. You'll often see state initialized inside a class constructor like this, but you can also initialize state directly inside the class definition using a class property. You omit the constructor method and super altogether and reference the state property directly. You don't need to write it as this.state, just state, and set it equal to the object. This class property syntax is a feature of JavaScript that's currently not supported in all browsers. Since we're using the Babel transpiler in our app, we don't have to worry about browser support. Babel.
See, that's what I thought. So we can just take that out and we can just do state. Easy. All right.
Will transpile our code and add a constructor for us behind the scenes.
JavaScript is
the way
just
you initialize
Java
state is
with
up to you.
scripts.
I prefer the class property
make a whole
syntax
bunch of
because
scripts.
it allows for a cleaner class component and I don't have to remember to set up a constructor and call super. So that's what I'm going to be using moving forward. All right, we've moved our score into a state object instead of getting the score from props, but so far it doesn't seem to have a benefit. Up next, you'll learn how to modify state from inside a component.
We need to get some
something you're not able to do
365
with props.
coding face challenge hashtags in here.
In React, your UI changes from one state to another, and state is local to a component, meaning a component can maintain its own state, unlike props, which are read-only. So to make our counter interactive, we need to be able to trigger changes to the data in state. Now that the score is in our state, we can finally change a player's score. The score changes when the user clicks the plus or minus button. So first, we'll create a function or event handler that updates our state using React's built-in setState method. Then we'll give our buttons an onClick event that calls the event handler when clicked. Whenever the score state gets updated, React will re-render our component and the change will be visible in our UI. In class components, a common pattern is to create event handlers as a method on the class. So first, let's create a new method on our component called incrementScore. This method name has no special meaning in React. It's just a name that I came up with. So to test that our method works, let's log a
so weird that you can just... Okay, that's fine.
Message to the console that says, hi, from inside incrementScore. Now we'll need to instruct React to listen for the click event on a button. For this, we'll use React's built-in onClick event. React events are similar to JavaScript events, except that they're written inline and named using camel case. In the increment button...
all right, hold on, let me catch up real quick. We gotta go in here. And then we need... whatever, we'll just leave that for now. And then over here, okay, that's weird. So we'll come over here to this plus and we'll do an on click, which is already supported. It also has on double click too. I don't know if you guys saw that, but like double click, that's a thing. But we'll do on click. Then we'll put, I think it's like this. Then we'll put add one in there. Add one, do that, I think, I forget. Let's keep going.
We'll specify the event we're listening for, onClick. And this event is specific to React, so you must name it onClick. React has other built-in events like onChange and onSubmit, which you'll learn about in a later course. You pass React events a JSX expression using curly braces, and the event handler that will get called when the specified event happens. So let's pass the incrementScore method to the button's onClick event with this.incrementScore. And notice how I'm not using parentheses to call incrementScore, like we usually call functions or methods in JavaScript. We're only passing a reference to the method. Adding parentheses will call incrementScore and make it run right when the component mounts or gets displayed on the page, which...
Okay, there we go. And now let's do... maybe just +1. Makes more sense. So come over here, refresh. Console. I could have swore I camel cased it. Did I not camel case it? Apparently I didn't. Oops. That's why it wasn't working. Let's come back over here. I didn't hit anything. Yeah, I camel cased it, It just looks like it ran by itself already. Yeah, this is the problem with with not using an IDE and using the workspace. These little things. Oh, it's because I'm running it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it was invoking it 5 times, or 4 times because it was there 4 times. Okay, all right. I got you. I want to run the function when I click it, blah, blah, blah. I got you. I got you.
Which we don't want. We want React to call increment score only when the onClick event is fired. Let's save our file, and over in the browser, I'll refresh. Click the plus button, and in the console, we see the message, "Hi" from inside increment score. Good. Our button is now wired up to the event handler, so in the next video, we'll update the score state inside our method.
I was thinking of the HTML on click, because you have to actually add that.
Our increment button is now wired up to the increment score event handler. So next, let's update the score state inside the increment score method. Each time a user clicks the plus button, the counter score will increase by 1. It's important to remember that state is never modified directly. In other words, we're not able to increment the score state by 1, like this. The only way React allows you to update a component state is by using its built-in setState method. So inside increment score, let's call this .setState. You see, React needs to be told when state changes. So this .setState lets React know that state has changed and that it should re-render and make changes to the component based on the change in state. You pass setState an object that contains the part of the state you want to update and the value you want to update it to. In our case, we want to update the score state. When increment score is called, we want to set the score state to 1 more than its current value. So for now, I'll set it to the current score plus 1 with this .state.score plus 1. So to recap, setState is going to do 2 things. It will update the value of the score state, and it will tell React that this component needs to be re-rendered to make sure that everything is up to date in the UI. Our method is all set to update state, but if we try to increment a player's score, nothing happens, and we get an error in the console that says uncaught type error, cannot read properties setState of undefined. It looks like we've lost our binding to the component, so we're not able to reference it with this from within the increment score method. It's common to experience this issue when handling events in React. We'll look at why this happened and how to fix it in the next video.
Have I written JavaScript in VS? Yeah, it's pretty good.
When we click the plus button to increment a player's score, we get an error in the console that reads uncaught type error, cannot read properties setState of undefined. The issue here is that we are referencing this .setState inside the increment score method, but this is actually undefined inside the method. For example, I'll comment out the setState method and log this to the console. When I click a plus button, notice how this returns undefined. In objects or classes, this usually refers to the parent that owns the method. So this should be the counter class. Since this is undefined, our method cannot access this .setState or this .state when the onClick event is triggered. So why is it undefined? You see, when you create a class component that extends from React.component, any custom methods you create are not bound to the component by default. So we've lost our binding to the component. Therefore, we're not able to reference it from within our method. So it's important to remember that you need to bind your custom methods so that this refers to the component. And there are several ways to bind the this context in React. A common way is to call bind in the render method. Each counter component that gets mounted into the DOM is an instance of the counter class. So inside the render method, this refers to the counter component instance, as you can see here in the console. In the buttons on click event, I'll call the JavaScript bind method on this increment score and pass it the desired context via this. Now let's run our code.
Surely there's a better way to do
Click
this.
the plus button, and great, we see that the console log to this now returns the counter. So now I'll uncomment this .setState and remove the console log inside the increment score method.
I don't remember doing this.
And we can see that our counter now works.
I think I did it a different way.
The other common way to bind event handlers is with an arrow function. So in my button,
why didn't you just
I'll pass
do
an
this?
arrow function to the onClick event that calls this.increment score.
There we go. Got it.
Over in the browser, our counter works the same way, and we don't even need to bind.
Wait, why does he have it running now? All right.
This. That's because arrow functions use what's called a lexical this binding, which means that it automatically binds them to the scope in which they are defined. We know that inside the render method, this refers to the counter component instance. The arrow function is enclosed inside the render method, so it takes on that same context, and the this value inside it will properly point to the counter component instance. There are even more ways to bind event handlers. For example, the most common way to define an event handler in React is with an arrow function. We learned that arrow functions are automatically bound to the scope in which they are defined, so if we rewrite the increment score method as an arrow function, the function gets bound to the component instance. The arrow function is enclosed inside the counter class, so the context is the component instance. Now we don't need to worry about binding it in the onClick event or in the constructor, which is yet another way to bind custom methods. We can simply reference and call the function in the onClick event with this.incrementScore. Make sure there are no parentheses at the end.
Later, dude.
Good.
It was working anyways.
This.increment and call the function in the...
Wait, back up. It's equals, yeah. I always forget the syntax. It's so annoying. Save. Add one doesn't need the thing. I know, that's what I'm thinking, right? Like, why'd he add it back? Can we stay consistent? No, apparently you do. Yeah, it doesn't run the function, right? So put it back.
We can simply reference and call the function in the onClick event with this.incrementScore. Make sure there are no parentheses at the end.
Can we pick a way to do this? All right, there we go. So this makes sense. Does plus plus work? Is that a thing? No. Bummer. Does plus equals 1 work? I know. Oh, so there's no plus plus. You can do plus equals 1. That's not bad, I guess. Let me put that back. Well, that's fine for now, I guess.
Good. All right, now that you've learned how to create event handlers, use React events, and update state, why don't you write a function called decrementScore that decreases the score by 1. Go ahead and pause the video and give it a try. So decrement score should work just like increment score, but subtracting 1 instead of adding 1. So I'm going to write the event handler as an arrow function by simply copying the increment score function.
We're gonna make a decrement score. Guys, guess what? You guys don't like this white theme? One moment, please. Let me put on my Casey Neistat glasses. All right, now we're good to go. Now it's like it's Darkula themed for me at least. I'm sorry that you guys have to look at this. Is there really no? Highlight active line. Is that a thing? Yeah, that's a little better. Is there anything else I can do here? Indent guides. Burns your corneas. Is this 2x? I think it's like 1.8. Chris is making his first video. So Chris, I don't know what your YouTube channel is, but we need to watch this. So can you go ahead and upload that? We'll watch it live together on stream. We'll give positive only feedback.
And changing it to...
Let's just make sure it works. This is what happens, right? I'm so paranoid that stuff never works. All right.
Decrement score. And I'll subtract.
How am I liking React?
By changing the plus operator
That's good, dude.
to a minus.
I've done it before. It's been a while, so I'm rusty.
On click
I
event
remember most of this stuff.
to the minus button.
Just don't remember the syntax.
This dot decrement score. Let's save our code.
There's no MVC.
Test it in browser.
It's just a view. There's no models, no databases.
All right, our counter feature now works.
All right. Continuing on. What type of components allow you to initialize state? Yeah. The only required method in a class component is render. Complete the code to define a class. What? Wouldn't this just be React.component? I think, right? Can you define any stateless functional component as a class? What's with the glasses? Well, I don't know if your corneas are actively burning from this white IDE, but we'll get to Redux. We will get to Redux, and then we'll get the Redux tools. I already have them. I already got the dev tools ready to go somewhere up there in my extensions. Here. So, dude, Dan King, welcome aboard. Let me just take a minute and ask you guys, how are you doing? How's your Wednesday? How's your hump day? How's it going? You guys doing all right tonight? I hope so. I just got back from a run. Just being perfectly honest, I didn't really feel like doing this, but I know it's good for me. Keeps it fresh. Helps you guys out. Helps me out trying to explain it. So I hope you guys are doing all right. You gotta learn React, but you're doing vanilla JS. It's alright, dude. One step at a time. Hump day's good. That's good, Humperdink. Goes hand in hand with your name. Stateless functional component. I mean, I guess so. It's morning. Joseph, why are you in Thailand, fam? What's going on? Armand, go back to applying to jobs. Just kidding. Welcome. Beginner willing to learn. Awesome, man. Welcome aboard. You like the shades? I actually have a wall full of shades, and these are my actually like good ones that I wear. They're my Casey Neistat shades. I should probably, like, it's a lot easier to, I don't know, I feel like I'm wearing a mask with these shades on. Like you guys can't see me. Class timer extend. All right, complete the code to define a time state. Right, so we need state equals time 0. How's the keto diet going? I swapped to intermittent fasting because my hands were cramping up. Thanks, dude. Add the code that will call the function named after start timer. All right, so we need onClick, and then we need this dot start timer. Is it because I added those? I think it's because I added those, isn't it? Yep. Rip. It's so natural. I'm so used to putting that to invoke it. How do good companies expect junior decks? Well, I mean, if you have a junior deck, you should probably spend more money and get superior decks. Try to get those legendary cards. I heard Hearthstone added some new ones recently. You should check. I'm just kidding. How good do companies expect you to be with CSS? Just be able to not do float. If you float something on your first day at work, get out. There's the door. OMAD lifestyle, 1 meal a day lifestyle. Not quite 1 meal a day, but it's past my eating window. So I'm really I really want to eat.
Our counter score is updating correctly. However, we're still mutating or altering state directly. Notice how we're updating the component's score state by directly accessing this.state.score. The way setState works is it takes the object passed to it with the updated state and eventually merges it into the component's current state. According to the React docs, a state update may be asynchronous. In other words, sometimes updates to the DOM don't happen immediately when you call this.setState. If you have multiple setState calls inside an event handler, React will often batch or bundle the updates together into a single update. This is done for performance reasons so that your UI is re-rendered more efficiently. So because state may be updated asynchronously, whenever you need to update state based on previous state, like update a score based on the previous score, you shouldn't rely on this.state to calculate the next state. While it's technically possible to change state this way, as you can see our counter is working just fine, it may not always lead to the component re-rendering with the new data and could cause state inconsistency. So instead of an object, setState also accepts a callback function that produces state based on the previous state in a more reliable way. So let's first modify the setState method and increment score to take a callback function. The callback function receives the previous state as its first argument, and the props at the time the update is applied as an optional second argument. We're only going to check the previous value of state before setting a new value. So let's pass the callback a reference to the previous state with the parameter pre-state. We'll add the arrow, then wrap the score property in a return statement with curly braces.
I don't remember this. Now we're getting to the fun new stuff. I don't remember doing this. Definitely don't remember doing this. Okay, so let me come in here. And then we want to add previous state with a brand spanking new function here. Yeah, okay. So we are going to have. Am I adding the correct? This is adding brackets. Can I get some syntax highlighting, please? So many brackets now. So we have this.
Now.
And we have this. So let's return this with some more brackets. But don't worry. Wait, there's more. I feel like Billy Mays with all these brackets. I think I have one too many. We're good. We're good, we're good. Alright. Hello, 241 in the UK, can't sleep. Welcome aboard. What is project? We're just doing Team Treehouse. So Matrix, if you want to try this out, follow along. The link for it's in the description. What is the awful? It's not. This is just their built-in workspace. So it already had, like, this is how we're doing Babel. This is how we're actually doing it right here. The script that's linking this app.js so that we could do JSX in it. So it's convenient rather than me having set up my local stuff. Right.
Now we'll replace this.state.score
what's up, dude?
with pre-state.score. And we'll do the same with the decrement score function.
Oh, previous state dot score. All right. Syntax a little messy, guys, but we're doing it. You don't understand what React is? Okay, so React is like when you load a page, imagine everything just disappearing and then new stuff appearing. So it's just like hiding and showing stuff rather than
Our
like
counter
loading
still
a new
functions
page.
the same way, but now we have a more reliable way to set state based on previous state because the callback function is guaranteed.
What? Got you. I got you. The syntax is so confusing to me. I just have to sit and stare at it sometimes.
Guaranteed to fire after the update is applied and rendered out to the DOM. And to make the callback more concise, you could omit the return keyword and curly braces by wrapping the body of the function in parentheses.
Can we pick a syntax? Please? Please.
So whenever you're updating to a new state based on a previous state, it's actively recommended
It uses
that you use
JavaScript,
this
so
approach.
it's still
that way you can be
JavaScript.
sure that state
You
did
just have
indeed
to
update correctly.
know how to write it. Does this work? I think this is working. I have one too many braces there. Watch Josh get triggered live. No, it's all good, dude. I'm not even mad, bro. Reload. Please work. Hey. Cool. Next.
In these final videos, you'll bring together a lot of what you've learned to create a feature that removes players from the app. When a user clicks the close icon next to a name, that player gets deleted from the scoreboard. You learned that the only thing that can change over time in React is state. A change in state, like increasing the score state by 1, results in changes to the UI. And when changes are made to the UI, like removing a player from the scoreboard, your data also changes in response. So now you're going to learn how to remove items from state. We'll initialize a player state in the app component, then create and wire up an event handler that removes a player on click. Since the app component is responsible for rendering the player component, it's going to own and maintain the player state. That state will then be passed down and available to the player component, as well as all children of app via props. First, we'll make app a stateful component by converting it from a function to a class. The class app extends react.component. Inside the class, let's add the render method, then place the return statement inside the render method. Remember,
Wait,
state is an object
I totally
that
just spaced
stores
out
all
here
the
'cause I was
data that
reading
the
chat.
component. Let's handler that
Oh,
removes
this is
the
what
player
happened
on
in
click.
college a lot.
Since the app component is responsible for rendering the player components, it's going to own and maintain the player state. That state will then be passed down and available to the player component, as well as all children of app via props. First, we'll make app a stateful component by converting it from a function to a class.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Class app extend.
All right, I got this. Stateful component, here we come. Where's app? What is this div doing? Oh. Player. Do I have an opening div somewhere? Can I just delete that? I feel like, no, that's part of it. All right.
React.component. Inside the class, let's add the render method, then place the return statement inside the render method.
Oh, please hold.
Remember, state is an object that stores all the data that the component itself needs and data that might get passed down to its children. So in the app component, let's initialize a player state using a class property. First, set state equal to an object.
What if this was a syntax? What if a bracket square was a syntax, but this was a specific something, and then you also had a square and then a bracket, and these were two different things. I feel like this is something Ruby would try and do, because Ruby is Ruby.
Inside the object, add a property named players and set it to an array. Next, I'll cut all the objects out of the original players array at the top of the file and paste them inside our new players array in state. This data is going to be our initial state. Now we just need the name and ID properties right now, since the score state is being set and updated in the counter component. So I'll go ahead and remove the score property from each object. And now we can go up and delete the original players array. And we no longer need to pass the player data to the app component as props because the data is now in state. So let's also delete the initial players prop given to the app component and react on.render. Next, in the app component's render method, we need to change our map function to iterate through the players array in state, which we can access with this.state. So let's replace props.initialPlayers with this.state.players.
Players.
And we'll also need to change the total players prop in the header to this.state.players.length. Over in React DevTools, you can see that the app component now has a state of players, and it's a...
Let me make sure this works. I feel like I messed something up. Because I didn't put the players in there. I don't think he did either.
And you should see the app display the initial player state, much like it always has. Players.
Did I do something? Let me look at his... I think I might have goofed.
State.
Is he? Oh, he pasted that in there. Okay, all right. So we did. Yeah, so he's got a players, and then he took all of this up here. syntax just confuses me. All right. I would name my kid like Rainbow.
Next, I'll cut all the objects out of the original players array.
Oh, it says it. I'll cut all the objects. I was just talking.
And paste them inside our new players array in state.
Okay.
This.
Okay. So now it'll work. Now it makes sense because now it's accessing the players. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Refresh, please work. Nope. What'd I do? See, I knew it. What did I do there? Oh, lowercase. Got it. Oh, yeah, play. Okay. I goofed. It's a player's object array thing.
This data is going to be our initial state. Now we just need the name and ID properties right now, since the score state is being set and updated in the counter component. So I'll go ahead and remove the score property from each object. And now we can go up and delete the original players array. And we no longer need to pass the player data to the app component as props because the data is now in state. So let's also delete the initial players prop given to the app component and react on.render. Next, in the app component's render method, we need to change our map function to iterate through the players array in state, which we can access with this.state. So let's replace props.initialPlayers with this.state.players. And we'll also need to change the total players prop in the header to this.state.players.length.
Did I probably mess that up too? Right now, this is right. This.state.players should work, right? State.players. This should work. What's going on? Gil is the teacher's name. Why is it mad? This.state.players is not a function. Is it the syntax? No. Ah, it is. Sure is. Look at me. All right. I almost said, look at me, I'm Mr. B6. Where does the render go? Should be here. There's the render. And then that goes to the component. All right. I think I had that map. Yeah, but this still wouldn't break it. Yeah, that's what I think it's a binding issue too. Yeah, it was the dot map. All right. All right, thanks, guys. I'm just going to get a job and outsource it. I'm going to live stream my job all day. Google says React's a library. Yeah, frameworks are typically associated with like MVCs, so there's no backend.
Over in React DevTools, you can see that the app component now has a state of players, and it's an array. And you should see the app display the initial player state, much like it always has. One important concept to understand is the different types of state. There are two main types of state I consider when designing a React app: application state and component state. Application state is the main state we typically think about. It's usually the data that's available to the entire app. In our scoreboard app, application state lives in the app component, and all of its child components have access to it. The counter, however, has state that's not shared or visible outside of the component. It's state required just for that component to do its job, like increasing and decreasing the score. This type of state is referred to as local component state. All right, now that you know more about application and component state, in the next video, I'll teach you how to remove items from state.
All right, last video.
All right, now let's create the delete player feature. Inside the app class, let's write a new arrow function called handle remove player. The function takes an ID parameter for the player to remove from state. Inside the function, add this.setState and pass it an object containing the property to update. In this case, players. Remember, we should never modify or mutate state directly. In order to remove a player from the player's array in state, we need to produce a new array that no longer contains the player object we want to remove. There are several ways we could do this. A common and reliable way is with the filter array iteration method. Filter is used to remove elements from an array without affecting the original array. So we could filter through the player's array in state with this.state.players.filter. But we're updating the player's array based on the previous state. So we want to avoid updating the player state directly by accessing this.state.players. So like we did earlier, let's have setState take a callback function with the parameter prev_state. The function needs to return the updated player state.
No, it doesn't. We didn't have to do this.
And we'll produce the updated state with prev_state.players.filter. Like the map method, the filter...
Wait, no, I'm not doing that. I'm doing it this way. Can we stay consistent with our syntax? So here, and then we'll go here. And so prev_state.players. Come on, why can't I type right now? All right.
Method takes a callback function. The first parameter of the callback represents the current item being processed in the array. I'll name it P for player.
Like map.
Then we need to return all player objects in state except for the one we want to remove. The way we do that is using the player ID. So it will return p.id, not strictly equal to ID.
Why?
So when handle remove player is invoked,
hold on. Thanks, Greg. Can I finish? Let me finish this. I'll make a sandwich.
Iterate through the player's array in state and filter out only the player object whose ID does not equal the ID passed into handle remove player. This function will eventually be called...
No, I missed it. You scroll down some. I need to hear him explain that again. Yeah, if this has helped you out or you've been at least entertained, hit the thumbs up because it helps the channel. I'm gonna listen to that one more time. I missed it.
Not equal the ID passed into handle remove player. We iterate through the player's array in state and filter out only the player object whose ID does not equal the ID passed into handle remove player. This function will eventually be called in the player component when the user clicks a delete button. Now, if the player component is a child of app, how will it have access to the function written in the app class? Through props. Props is what React uses to pass data from component to component. You can pass functions through props, even data from state. So next, we need to supply the handle remove player function to the player component. So in the map function, let's give the player component a new prop named remove player.
Oh, this is getting messy. Basic React, they said. Where's this player? This dude wearing shades. Have you seen this IDE? Are your corneas still alive?
Then we'll pass the function down to player with this .handle remove player. And we also need to pass the player ID as a prop. That way we can use it to let the function know which player to remove. So let's add a prop named ID and pass it player.id. So handle remove player is going to be called at a later time through some interaction with the player component. In this case, when a user clicks a delete button, and it's going to change the player state that is maintained in the parent app component. If you have a look at the app in React DevTools, you should see that each player component has a remove player prop, and its value is a function. This means that the player component now has access to the function and state defined in its parent app component.
Hold. This is players, right? Remove player. It just filters out the player. Just that remove player. That's what I named it. All right, let's save this real quick. Make sure this is still loading. Okay, let's open these dev tools up. Sweet.
To demonstrate, I'll scroll up to the player function and console.log props.remove player. In the console, you'll see that it logs the handle remove player function. So player is now able to send data back to its parent app component through the callback function that's being passed to it through props. Good. Inside the player component, a delete button is going to trigger the change in the player state. So let's create the button now. Inside the span tags, add a button element. You can copy this element along with the close icon from the teacher's notes with this video. The button will get the class remove-player for styling purposes and an onClick event.
What's happening in my chat?
Then, to call the handle remove player function when the button is clicked, I'll pass onClick an anonymous function using an arrow function that returns a call to the function which is being passed in through props with props.removePlayer.
That's not confusing at all. Here we have to use that because we want to invoke it on click, but the other one doesn't need it. Okay.
Finally, we need to pass the player ID to the function so that it knows which player to remove on click. We're passing the ID as a prop so we can access it with props.id. So now the handle remove player function written in the app component gets all the information it needs to remove a player from state. Let's try it. Over in the browser, click the delete icon. That player is removed from the UI and the total player count updates correctly. And in React DevTools, you can see that a player object is removed from the application state each time I click the delete button.
That's neat. Let's try it out. Nope. Fail. Jake, what's up? What are we building? We're not building anything specific. We're just following along with this stuff. Props.removePlayer, props.id. We're doing it for the stream. I did React like 2 years ago, so it's changed from when I learned it. I did this every day for my job, but I forgot it. It happens. Then I went to C#, right? So. What is going on here? Did I break something? Whoops. Are you drinking soda? I'm drinking Crystal Light fruit punch. Hmm. You wouldn't blame me for bombing the interview question? I did that interview question. That was still like, oh, it's been like 3 years now. So that's 2 years after I've done React. So it's been a while. I mean, I remember all the props and the state and all these concepts, but I don't remember the syntax. So what's happening here, it looks like my remove player function is not happening here. Do a push-up every time the build fails? Sorry, dude, that's $1 each. Ain't doing push-ups for a build fail. I'd be here all night doing push-ups. What's going on here?
In this course, we built the basic functionality of we're passing the ID as a prop, so we can access it with props.id. So now the handle remove.
You're out later, dude. Have a good night. Thanks for hanging out. Props.remove player. Okay. What's going on here? What exactly is going on? Save. We did it.
Remove player function, written in the app component, gets all the information it needs to remove a player from state. Let's try it. And remove players, modify scores, and see the total number of players in our game. You have the foundational knowledge to begin building and contributing to all sorts of React applications, but there's a whole lot more to learn about in React. In a follow-up course, you'll build a more advanced version of the scoreboard app that will introduce new key concepts and features of React and best practices for building and working with components. You'll find the link to the course, along with other helpful React courses and workshops in the teacher's notes for this video. Remember, we're here to help, so if you have questions about anything covered in this course, feel free to reach out to the Treehouse staff or other students in the community. Thanks, everyone, and happy coding.
Hey, we finished React Basics. Good morning, it's 5 a.m. Dude, you're up, killing it. Keep it up. Whenever you need to update a state based on a previous state, you need to do... Wait, what? You shouldn't rely on this. C. Does this count as my 365 coding phase challenge? If I do the 365 coding phase challenge, do I still get a Mac? Or can I get the cash? Can I get his... Let me get his Bentley instead. Or his Benz, whatever he has. Let me get that instead. Check out Jupyter Notebook. What is that? Is that a framework or something? In React, state is never modified directly. Yet. What type of state is available to the entire app? Please fill in the correct answer in each. Complete the code to display the value of a prop named time. Class name equals time. Oh, I can only put this. So what do I do? Like, props.time. What? Whatever. Whatever. We did it. We completed React Basics together. So if you want to redo that yourself, again, the link is in the description. 7 days for free, and then 25 after that. They also have tech degrees. I should do one of these tech degrees. Start my free trial. Which one should I do? I think Python Web Dev tech degree would be good. Maybe full stack. I don't even have a Mac. So like this one just doesn't appeal. I don't know. We did it. We did it, my dudes. So we'll just hang out for a minute and then I'll head out, eat some dinner. Oh, I can't. I'm on intermittent fasting. Feels bad, man. Whatever. How are you guys? I'll do some shout outs before I leave. Craig, again, thank you for the 10. Kagan, good morning again. Are you too old to learn React? Dude, you're doing good. You have your stuff hosted on Heroku. Get out of here with that. On to the intermediate. Is there any intermediate? It's 25 a month. Is that unlimited courses? Yeah, it's 25. It's 25 a month, but you get everything. Library, tracks, every single course that Treehouse offers. Is it 15? I think it's 25. Depends on which one you get. But yeah, you get all this stuff. Maybe Flask would be good. We could do some Python Flask. Poor Josh can't eat pizza. I can eat pizza. Keto pizza exists, but I'm not doing that anymore. And then intermittent fasting, and I haven't really eaten a whole lot today, so I could still eat pizza right now if I wanted. I've been doing lifting 5 days a week and then running every day, 5 days a week. And I take the weekends off. So I just finished a run, and I was like, you know, I feel pretty pumped up right now, but I'm not pumped up about sitting down and learning code. So I'm going to do it anyways. And now I feel pretty pumped up because we finished it. Feels good. We finished it. React Basics. It's pretty awesome. Do I have an affiliate? Yeah, it's in the description. But I mean, you can try that out if you want. Treehouse or front end masters? I've never done front end masters. I can look it up. Treehouse offers more than just front end. Browse our courses. Monthly unlimited. $40. Yeah, okay, pass. That's way too much. $40 a month for front end only. Yeah, Treehouse is like 25. Next community project. It was going to be like a Pomodoro, but Chris has some ideas on it. Other people have some ideas on it.
Auto shutdown initiated.
Oh. I guess I don't need these. There's no audio.
Auto shutdown canceled. Charging battery.
What's going on, Bettina? Be cool to work on a big project on stream. I think if I was going to work on a big project on stream, I would probably do... Yeah, dude, he's just chilling back there. I would probably do C++ Unreal Engine. I really want to do some game development. Like, if I had to do a project, like code project for fun, it would not be a web development project. It would be a game development project. At least I could, like, play it. Hey, Oko, come here, dude. I took him on a run too. Like he went on a little mile sprint with me. So, hey, bro, come here, fan. You got fans. He's more popular than I am. Vanilla.js project before React. Yeah. Did you just leave? He just left. No, bro, come here. Bruh. Dude. Boy, you better get in here. He don't like me. It's my favorite game genre. I like FPS. Unreal Engine uses blueprints. Yeah, Unreal Engine uses blueprints, but the multiplayer portion of it is not blueprints. And so I'm interested in creating a multiplayer game. I think. Yeah, he gone. He's just right around the corner. I'm gonna go get him. No, this is unacceptable. Come here. Come here, dude. Come in here. Go get in there, boy. You tired? You had a good run. I had a good run. Come here, dude. Did you just bump your head? Ugh. Ugh. All right. He's the only reason that I'm famous. Sir, please. Sir, do you have a word? Why Unreal Engine over Unity? I've made games in Unity already, so also the multiplayer support for Unity is limited to their high-level API and their Photon extension. I don't know. I tried making multiplayer game in Unity. I had it, almost did it, but just, I don't know. On to C++. C++ is industry standard anyways. So I think, I don't know. I just want to try it out. Also, Unity, yeah. So this is the thing with Unreal Engine, right? Unreal Engine has that Fortnite money, and Unity does not. And so I think it's in their best interest to keep updating Unreal Engine if they want to keep rolling in that Fortnite money, you know? Thumbnail right here. Teaching my dog ReactJS. Done. Photon is a super pain. I downloaded like their demo packages, and I tried to figure out how they were like doing all that networking and the replication and stuff. And it's just like I spent like a week with their demo trying to reverse engineer because their documentation was not good. And like if you go to their website, there's no forums or anything. They won't answer your questions. My dog looks heavy. He's not very heavy. He's maybe like 40 pounds. He's just fluffy. You should see him. You should see him if I give him a bath. He gets even more fluffy. It's like a giant pillow. You're like a pillow fan. You know that? You know that? He's a baby. He's a baby. You wanna go down, dude? Alright. You made a multiplayer game in Unreal. It took like 2 hours. I have a Udemy course on it that I wanna do. I tried to make the dueling Unreal multiplayer game, but I couldn't do it. You had to do a game for senior engineering using Photon. Oh god. So the thing with Unreal is that it's just peer-to-peer, and they have replication built in. So you literally just check a box that says replicate. That's it. Boom, done. And there's like a whole bunch of brand new tutorials on Udemy for it. So I'd probably stream making my dream game. But apparently it's already coming out. It's called like Spell something. Spell Wars? I don't know. But it's not exactly the game that I wanted, but I still want to try and make it. Nate, what's up, man? I'm just a regular guy, just like you. I don't think that I'm, you know. Someone said, "Oh, I didn't know you had 30,000 subscribers. I didn't know you were that popular." And I was like, I don't feel that popular. I feel like regular people. Trying to make multiplayer checkers app using sockets. Well, that's doable. I just want more 3D. Like I want to make the next PUBG, you know? Oh yeah, also Unreal got the 20 mil worth of Paragon assets, but you can't really use them right for production. You still have to get your own art assets, so you'd have to outsource that to like Fiverr or something. Or learn Blender and do it yourself. But then game dev. So game dev is really tedious because of these reasons. You have to do the marketing. You have to do the website for it. You have to do the development of it. You have to do the animations for it. You have to rig the characters that you make. And you have to create the models for those characters. Then you have to create the styles for those characters, like their heat maps, or what, not heat maps, but like their maps for all of their textures and stuff that you have to put on them. And then every time you make an event, right? So think like when you shoot the gun, you have to, not only do you make the event handle, right, where you click the mouse, it shoots the gun, but now you have to generate a bullet, and now you have to code this bullet. So this bullet is traveling in time, and then it hits the wall, and you have to play the sound, like you have to play the sound of the bullet when it fires. You have to hit some recoil. You have to play the animation of the gun going back like this. You have to play the little particle effect of the fire coming off the gun when you shoot. And then you have to like play the sound, all of that together. And then the bullet hits the wall. You have to play the disappearing little effect, right? It hits the wall. And then you have to generate a decal to stick on the wall wherever it hit. Then you have to set a timer for that decal to disappear, or else you have memory overload. Then you have to play the sound when the bullet hits the wall. Like doing all that manually as a game dev is just like, it gets really tedious. The hit event, right? Nate, you're doing the Odin project. Would I consider that a good start? Yeah, Odin project's good. Just be careful with Ruby on Rails. It's kind of antiquated. Make a Call of Duty game with mages and stuff. Yeah, so that's actually coming out. PC Gamer did a article on that the other day. Spell Spell Battle Royale or something. I don't know. It's in like pre-alpha. Spell Break. That's what it's called, Spell Break. So this was kind of what I wanted to do. It's like, it's a battle royale and you find and you like make spells and stuff. This was kind of the dream, but like, I don't know. It's built in Unreal too. Here, I can link it for you guys. And you have to, yeah. So game dev is just like super and then you add multiplayer into it, right? So now you have to take that bullet and generate the bullet, but you also have to generate the bullet on the other person's screen, or do you have to generate that bullet, right? You have to write in the logic that says, am I going to generate this bullet for the other person if this person is not going to get hit by it in any case? Like if he's on the other side of the map or behind me, he's not going to see this bullet or hear this bullet. Do I generate it for him? Like you have all these like LOD stuff, load on demand stuff. Is this still about React or did you come too late? We finished the React Basics course, so we'll pick back up with a different track tomorrow or the next day. I might do just a hangout. I was looking at the viewers while we were doing React and it was going up and down. So this is the problem with streaming code, is that people come in and they don't they have some idea what you're doing, and the people that have no idea what you're doing are like, what are you doing? What is this? How does this work? And then they leave because they're confused. And then the people that do know what they're doing, I don't know why they're here, because they already know how to do it. So it's just like this weird thing about streaming code, whereas you can do this and you can interact, answer questions, make sure you get to everybody. Manly, does Treehouse teach web backend and how to deploy full functional website? Yeah, they do all that. That's full stack web development. As for hosting, that's DevOps, but you can do that in Heroku fairly easy. We need a night mode. Yeah, I'm on their Discord. You don't think live stream coding is the most effective way of learning? It's probably not the most effective way, but it is a challenge that helps me not only do the code but explain it to you guys and be interactive with you. So it's practice for me to get better. But for people watching, it's like, for people watching, it's not the best way to learn to code. Maybe as a recorded video where they go back and forth, but me, you know, if I don't answer their question, they're going to be lost still, and then they're going to leave. So it is what it is. It's a little bit entertaining. I like it. People can see what Treehouse is about. We can, you know, see what their curriculum is like. How do I feel about Dev Mountain? I went to Dev Mountain. It is no longer the Dev Mountain that I went to. It got bought out by Kaplan Education. There is no guarantee. At the time when I went, there was no guarantee anywhere, so that was my only option. And if you know what I say about schools that don't have guarantees, you can make an inference as to what I don't know. I'm not salty or mad at them or anything, although I did apply to work there as a mentor and they told me no. That was neat. So I went there, right? So I don't know. My teacher from Dev Mountain, the dude who taught me how to code, my part-time code teacher from Dev Mountain is now the co-founder of Lambda School, right? So he was like, bye. Now he has Lambda School, and he's the CTO there, co-founder. So, in my opinion, I would recommend going there. Why don't you make a live stream coding a Patreon exclusive offering, limit the number of people to 100? Maybe, I could do that. Your eyes couldn't, oh, that's right. So basically what I did, I cleared the cache of my OBS. I need to fix my settings. My bad, guys. I'm at 720. Terrible. I'm sorry. I will fix that. Do I live in Utah? Yeah, I live in Salt Lake City. Like, Salt Lake City is like 5 minutes down the road. I didn't come to Utah for Dev Mountain. I lived in Dev Mountain as a mechanical engineer, and then I said, yo, peace out to mechanical engineering. Hello, coding. What up? I want to work remote in my underwear. 95K on the couch. That was a dream. I mean, that didn't happen, right? But I still learned how to code, and eventually I got there. The Job Corps? Is that a thing? Craig, you don't want to do that, dude. They're gonna want to get married after like one date. Have I considered coding abroad? I have a girlfriend. I have 2 dogs, a mortgage. My parents live here, and I support my parents here. So it's a little bit more difficult than just getting up and leaving. If I didn't have any of those obligations, yeah, sure. Digital nomad all day. That's the dream. And I don't think I'll get dogs again after these are gone. Then I'll probably just digital nomad. But I've thought about traveling for a little while. Leave the house to my girlfriend. Let her handle things. And then just go visit some people. Like, Craig, I'm going to come visit you, Craig. You can take me to work with you in your work truck, and we'll document your whole life. Day in the life of someone hustling the code. Sound good. All right, I'll meet you there, Craig. Then I'll come visit Armand. I can come hang out with him while he's at work. Lambda has a big network in Utah. Anywhere's better than California. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go to Georgia. You couldn't give me a free house in Georgia to move there. You couldn't be like, here's a mansion and a bunch of hot chicks. I still would be like, nah, I'm good. I wouldn't say anywhere. Craig, we should do a live stream on Friday to catch up, so you can show everyone your React app and that you deployed it on Heroku. That'd be sweet. Malo, how's it going, dude? I'll reach 100K in an instant. Yeah, so I thought about traveling and doing YouTube anyways, but I don't know if I would make exclusive code videos, because what's the point, right? If I'm just making code videos, you're looking at an IDE, not my background. But I thought about, I want to go visit my grandparents. Well, I still have grandparents. I want to go visit my friends from high school that went to the military that I haven't seen for like 8 years. And I want to make videos with them, just, you know, because there's more to life. Giving back, seeing your grandparents. Like, I'd like to, here's a wholesome video that I'd like to make, is I'd like to go sit down with my grandparents and be like, look, what would your advice be to your 20-year-old self? And what would you tell me if you could go back and do something different? What would you do, right? And I think that would like share that to everyone. Here's to 1 million subs someday. I could Casey Neistat style those types of vlogs. I know how to do it. What am I currently working on? We were doing React Basics on Team Treehouse, but now we are no longer. We finished the Treehouse React Basics course, so now we're going to move on to something else. So we're just going to keep doing Team Treehouse until I finish everything on there. That'd be fun. Craig, drop the link. Drop the Heroku link. Or yeah, do that. Join the Discord. Even better. I think tomorrow morning I'm going to make a video. I get this question a lot. Like, do you think AI will take over web dev jobs? So I'll probably make a video just addressing that question. I've been trying to not make 10-minute videos. I've been trying to just make videos however long they are and just keep them clear and concise. But yeah, the other videos have been more than 10 minutes for a good reason, I guess. But I was so obsessed with hitting that 10-minute mark for ad revenue, but it's just not working. So Casey Neistat and whoever, Peter McKinnon, they always make like 6 to 8 minute videos and they do just fine. So might as well just do that. What did you miss? What's Craig's app? Craig is learning to code on, you know, he's learning to code and he works full time, so he's figuring it out as he goes. Do I think Google and AI is a bad mix? I don't know. Who knows? It's too early. Yeah, if you guys want to talk with me more after the live streams, there's a Discord in the description. I'm always there. It goes to my phone. You can message me. I try to get back to everyone, unless you're like, you know, begging for free stuff or something. I get a lot of weird questions sometimes. But yeah. Any reason to use Heroku? I told him to use Heroku. Yeah, I thought Heroku was a more wholesome solution. Less than 10-minute videos are quick and straight to the point. Yes, that is true. However, you forget that this is part of my living now. This income that I get from YouTube is part of my living. So 10-minute videos let you do, it does better for your algorithm, and you can do mid-roll ads. So, you know. But if you get more views on a shorter video that's more concise, then it evens out. So do I have a tutorial on Git? Yeah, I have a tutorial on Git. It's in my previous videos. You just got to go search a little bit. I have an actual course on it. It's on my Teachable. You'll find a link for my Teachable in the description. You can go do it there. Takes you from setting up an account, downloading it, the programs you need, make a repo, Git flow, Git branching. That's about it. That's all you need. It's like a 15-minute course. Not to pimp my channel, but you did a weekly. Okay, everyone go to subscribe. Why can't I say that word? Go follow Craig. Craig has his own YouTube channel. He's documenting his journey. Coding at 45. Except he's 46. I made a video about portfolios. Where did I go to get the projects to create yours? The video? People sent me their links to portfolios. What do you mean to create mine though, Nate? I wonder what we should do for the next Treehouse course. Maybe I'll do Udemy, C++. My Unreal course. I don't know. I don't know yet. How much do you bench? For reps? Maybe 200? For PR? I don't know. Haven't done it in a while. Enough? I could do enough, I guess. Redux! You can't see the Teachable in the description. Just go to the thing where it says My Courses. I only have one course. They take time to make, but yeah. What up, dude? Hey, come here. You got fans. A Vue course? Nah, I haven't done Vue. We could maybe do Vue. You'd say that I bench 165? No. I know I can bench 225 at least once. And I know, or at least 3 times I can bench 225. So maybe a little bit more than that for once. 230. So I can bench 200 about like 6-7 times. So I could do 2 plates, maybe, you know, about 3 times. I don't know. I'm a small dude, and my genetics are Native American. My do I have an opinion about the open classrooms? I work at open classrooms. I teach at open classrooms. it's good stuff. I mean, the reason I don't talk about it is because it would make me look awkward, right? Like, oh, I work here. Oh, you guys should all check it out. Like, what does that look like to you guys, right? It looks like I'm obviously just trying to steal money from people. Oh yeah, yep, you should all go here. It's just like, so I don't want to be a shill. It's not my job to make a program look good. How much do I weigh? 178, I think, last time I weighed. 6'1", 178. You titled the video, Top 3 Things You Must Know About the Top 10, Top 5 React. Greg, you need more dollar signs in the title. That's how you get views. You're out. Later, dude. Thanks for hanging out during the stream. Thanks for dropping the knowledge to everyone else. It's a conflict of interest. Yeah, it's a little bit of a conflict of interest. But John, if you are curious about it, I have a code that I can give to you. It gets you 20% off. If you want to sign up without it, right? Like, you don't get 20% off. But if you're curious, just shoot me a message on Discord and I can give you that. But yeah. It's there's a lot of European students, and you get a bachelor's degree from it. That's accredited in the EU. So that's, and you have a mentor that you meet with. So right, I'm one of those mentors. I have a bunch of students there. Like, okay, Chuck Norris, chance. Yeah, I need to get in shape, so. Malo, what's up, dude? I will see you later tomorrow, probably, for the Hangout stream. I'll be talking about, I'll drop an AI video first, and then I'll do another Hangout stream so I don't ruin my algorithm. I'm gonna go eat some dinner, hang out with a girlfriend, try to do other productive things, and then go to sleep, because I gotta wake up at 4:45, and then redo the whole process again. What's my dog's name? His name is Oko. So John, if you're interested, you can request me, and then I can be your mentor. So if you have any more questions, you can shoot me an email. I can tell you about whatever, open classrooms, Lambda School, Treehouse, all the places that have let me look at their stuff, right? So I try not to specifically endorse anything. I'll do like a sponsored video that'll be like, oh, this video is sponsored by, but I'm not going to be like, this is the best thing ever, because that's not my job. That's their job to make their content good, right? It's my job to show you that content, and then you guys can decide for yourself. So I try never to be a shill in that respect. Good night from Florida. Later, dude. What do I do immediately upon waking up? What are my first 30 minutes? Oh, you want to know my morning routine? Sure. My morning routine is to grab my headphones, plug them into my phone, and I listen to Insight Timer. Right now I've been listening to one guided meditation that is a manifestation. It sounds really tree hugger, but basically visualizing where I want to be for that day, where I want to be for 10 years down the road, seeing those things as if they've already happened. You know how many times I've seen 30K subscribers in my head before it actually happened, and now we're here? So it's like, anyways, I do 10 minutes of meditation. And then right after that, I sit down, and then I write everything down on my list. And then after that, I come in here and I journal on a Google Drive file that I have for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then after that, I make a video or hop on a live stream, hang out with my dogs for a little bit, grab a drink. That's about it. Oh yeah, so this is it. I meditate, do a journal, go to the gym, cardio. Today I did a video, I did a stream. Oh guys, I just got a merch shelf. So like soon you're gonna see like merch below my video. I have to make new merch, but like they finally gave it to me. I sent in the ticket and I was like, can I get a merch shelf please? And they're like, sorry, we're only giving that to specific creators now. You have to wait until next year. But they gave it to me because I hit 30K. So that's kind of neat. Anyways, I was going to make some new merch today. I didn't get that done. Website. I was going to work on my website. I didn't do that today. I was going to work on my skill packs. I didn't do that today. Oh yeah, what else do I do, Chance? I also write down a bunch of stuff that I'm thankful for. So friends, here I wrote down friends, my girlfriend, house, the cool air outside, just simple shit, you know, like my job that I can make videos for a living, my grandparents that they're still around. And then I wrote down some stuff to do. I don't know. I have a pretty specific. You recommend that I read about this? Yeah. So I've tried Transcendental and that one. I've been doing meditation for like a year now. I have a pretty strict morning routine. You have to hit that home run in the morning. I also do Tony Robbins startup. Seriously, like if you start the morning off right, you just make everything right. Like I do intense visualization. I know it sounds cheesy. Just listen to anyone, any person that's like up there that's made it. They always talk about what they see. If you got the vision, you know where you're going, it goes there. There's so many times where I've seen myself at 10K subscribers, 20K, 30K, and then I see myself at 1 million, right? And I know it's ridiculous, but one day I'll get there. Like I just have a clear vision of where I want to go. The how, not necessarily sure of how, like that fills itself in, but I know the why. The why is what matters, not the how. The how will figure itself out. The why, I know I want to help people, right? Have I done a sensory deprivation tank? No, I think that'd be cool to try though. I don't really have access to one. I also listen to Jocko on Spotify sometimes in the morning. I'll turn on a motivational gratitude video. I've been practicing gratitude, really writing what I'm thankful for. And so I'll do the Tony Robbins routine. It's really ridiculous. Here, I'll show you how to do it. This is what you do. You raise your hands up like this. You breathe in through your nose, and then you breathe out through your mouth, and you pull your elbows down. And you do that 10 times. And it's like really tiring. It's actually like physically tiring to do. And then you do 3 sets of those. Well, so in between sets, you just sit here. And you kind of feel all tingly. It gets you hyped up. Sometimes I'll do that before making a video. I've been doing that recently before making videos, before doing live streams. I've been practicing like being more charismatic. I don't know. My morning routine is like very, very, very special to me, and I can't have any interruptions. Like I'll go hang out with my girlfriend while she's getting ready, you know, scratch her head or something while she's doing her makeup, pet my dogs, and then come back and do what I'm doing. I don't do that much exciting stuff, but I have to, like, you know, I'll do the 5-second rule to get out of bed. So I'll count down from 5. Like I did that this morning specifically. I didn't want to get out of bed. So I was just remembering, like, if I don't get out of bed right now, it'd be so easy to fall asleep. Was I meant to sit here under these warm covers, or was I meant to get up and make videos, right? So I get up and make videos. Now count down from 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then I'll just kick my legs out, and then I'll bring them back under the covers, and then I'll kick my legs out again, and I'll get up. And I'll be like, all right. And I just like mosey out. Have I tried the Wim Hof breathing method? No, I have not. But it looks interesting. It's on my list of things to do. But I know what you're talking about. Actually, yeah, I have tried Wim Hof breathing method a few times. I just haven't stuck to it. I always try out different things. I'm always reading different books, yeah. I don't know. My life didn't really start changing until I started having a morning routine every, you know. You want to text me at 6 a.m.? I will text you when I wake up. Here, you guys, we should do this thing that like holds you accountable. And so like you agree to pay someone money if you don't do that thing. There's a website for it. The dude who made remoteok.io made this website. Anyways. Yeah, so definitely recommend a morning routine. The Marlboro breathing method. Oh my god. Definitely try to hit up that meditation. So meditation is like, there's this It's like, Amanda, how's it going? I'm good. Meditation for me, it's not like some people think it's really hippie and they leave, and I kind of used to think it was like that too. But it's more like if you look at a highway from a distance and like you see all the cars just like flying down the highway, but if you could just like slow time down for a second and the cars go in like slow-mo, now you can like identify the brand and the color and like who's in it and stuff like that. That's kind of like what meditation is. If you could just like slow down time and like, oh, okay, so that's a thought. Okay, I'm not really thinking that. That doesn't really matter. Next. Oh, that's kind of neat. Yep, nope, next. And it just like gives you some space from your thoughts. Because that's what your brain does. Your brain just makes thoughts by itself. It's just what it does, what brain does. And so if you meditate, the whole purpose of that is to like step away from your thoughts and to look at them and then ignore the ones that are just like automatically generated and then recognize the ones that you purposely chose. Like I'll have thoughts that are like just pop in. I'll be like, all right, what am I going to eat for breakfast? Oh, that's right, I can't. I'm doing intermittent fast. Like, where did that thought come from? Like, it just pops in. And I'm like, and it's easy to get lost in them. It's really easy to just get taken away and like not even realize that you started thinking. And then like a few seconds later, be like, oh wait, I'm supposed to be meditating. Oh, my bad. Let me back to normal. All right. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. Happy 30,000. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's kind of like the opposite of filtering thoughts. It depends on how you do it. There's different ways. You can do the breathing method where you focus on sensation, or you can do the body scan. Have you guys ever done one of those? It's really weird. You have thoughts. I have a girlfriend. Sometimes she's a thought. But you can I don't filter thoughts, right? I don't think anything. There's just different approaches. Different things work for different people. I'll make a video on it if you guys are interested. I think I'd use my green screen for that and have like a translucent me hovering above, like shouting things with a megaphone at me, because that's what your brain does. And then you just have the ability to like ignore it. And I'd get to use After Effects. I think that'd be fun. Or I could do it really simply. Anyways, it's like try to cross a highway when all the cars are going like 90 miles an hour. And then it's easy to just get hit by one and just taken away with the thoughts. Just get lost in the flow of traffic. Whereas if you could slow time down, you could really navigate through there and see what's going on, which is what meditation is for. And so during the day when I start having like, I don't want to do this, I don't feel like doing it. Okay, is that really me, or am I just being a little baby? And then I can just dismiss those negative thoughts and move on with my day. I'm not the best at it, but yeah. All right, dudes, I'm out. I'm gonna go eat some dinner, hang out with a girlfriend. I can't eat dinner. I'm on fasting. Dang it. All right, I'm gonna go hang out with a girlfriend and play some PUBG on my iPad, and then go to sleep and read a book. I'll see you guys later. I'm out.